Hello, Julie here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I am doing some more work in my altered book. I'll have a quick flip through. You can see I finished off a few things since I last videoed. So that envelope fits in there nicely. I've put a journaling card in this pocket. I think I did that one on camera, and here we have a pocket in this flip out, and I've put a journaling card in that flips out like that for writing space. Here we have another journaling card in this side pocket. I've stitched around all of the journaling cards and pages. Here I've put an envelope in here. I made another envelope, and I haven't put anything in this pocket yet. I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do there. And here I've put a tag in this top pocket, and I've put some sari silk on the top of that, just so that pokes out the top and we know that there's something in there. I've put a journaling card in this side pocket. I haven't done anything with this page yet. That's coming. And today I'm going to make something for this back section here. So that's what I'll be working on today. And I thought I would make a pocket, and I'm going to make an unusual edge pocket. So I'm going to fussy cut around this and use this as my pocket. But because I've only printed it on paper, I want to make it a bit sturdier. So I'm going to attach it to this I think it's 350 GSM cardstock. So I'm going to, well actually I might just cut that off there, because I can save that piece for another project. So I might just cut that off. I'm going to lose that butterfly wing, but I don't know what I can do about that. Oh, I might just bring this down to, yeah, I might bring it down to that leaf there, and then I can keep both sides nice. So cut that off there like that. Then I can pop that over there. And I'm going to use that again in a minute, but I'm going to first of all add this to this. But another step that I probably should do before I do that is I want to have like a gusset on this pocket. So I'm going to put a 1/2 inch fold there. How wide is my book, or how wide is the area that I want this pocket to be on? So I might just mark that with a pencil. So there, let's say I'm going to make it that wide. Yep. So I will score a 1/2 inch to the left of that, so that I've got how wide my pocket's going to be, and then I can trim that off there. Oh, that's not where I wanted my fold line is. I want to cut it where that 1/2 inch is, not score it where it is. I don't know where my head is these days. I seem to get all sorts of bits and pieces skewed up. So let's score that then. There. So that will be the width of my pocket, like so. Let's check that I've got that right. Yep. Perfect. Very good. Now, do I want to, if I take a 1/2 inch off there, I'm going to lose, I might just take 1/4 inch off on the bottom. Well, that's not cut very straight, is it? Look at that. Right. I'll score that through there. It's not a very big score line, but it will do. Okay, so let's erase that little pencil mark there. Oh, you're not going to see that. Okay, so let's fold the bottom up. Take that corner out of there. And here. Like that, and fold that up. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to make a piece of cardstock just big enough to fit in that. Now let's see if I can find a ruler in this mess. So I want a piece that is, I'm going to make it 3 1/8, so it's slightly smaller by 5. 3 1/8. By 5. Okay, so that's going to fit in there nicely. I'm going to butt that up to the top. That gives me a little bit of clearance at the bottom and a little bit at the sides. Okay, so let's stick that to that. You could use your glue stick for this. Okay. Right, now I'm going to take my fussy cutting scissors and I'm going to cut around the edge of this. There's no real right or wrong with the cutting out here. I'm just going to go where I think I should go. So how is everybody? Everything here is going along nicely. We have got a reasonably good day today. It's sunny but very windy. Everything seems to be going along nicely. I hope everything's going along well with you. So I'm going to just cut that on an angle so we can't see that when we fold those over. So that's going to be my pocket. I'm going to ink around that. And I might go and stitch around the 3 sides. I'm not going to stitch around the top here because that would be a bit too tricky, and plus I think you'd sort of lose the effect if you put stitching around the top there. So I'll go and stitch around this and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've stitched around that. Now I'm going to attach that on my cover, back cover. So there's our pocket. I'm going to slip something in behind that. And we can make it the full width of the thing if we wanted to. Now what I thought I might put in there is a vellum bag. So I've printed onto some vellum one of the patterns from the kit, one of the papers from the kit, and I'm going to make a bit of space. I'm going to make a bag using this. I love making these paper bags, or bags, vellum bags, paper bags, whatever. I learnt how to do this by watching Rachel at Roxy's Creations. So let's see if I can remember how to do it. That's always a challenge. So which way are we going to have us up? That way, I think. Or that way. No, I think that way. Alright, so what we have to do is we have to fold these over so that they overlap slightly. Like that. So see if I can get it straight. And then fold that down and fold it down this way. Okay, so there we have you can see that there's a bit of an overlap there, about, well, I don't know, maybe a quarter of an inch overlap. Now, the bottom, which was the bottom, I think we'll make this the bottom. I mean, that butterfly is flying upside down, but there are other butterflies on there. Alright, we'll make this the bottom, although I prefer the heavier pattern to the bottom, so I'm going to go with my instincts, and I'm going to fold this up about, say, I'm going to fold it up about 3/4 of an inch. Somewhere between 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. Perhaps I should use my scoreboard. But I'm just going to wing it. Okay. This is very stiff vellum. I haven't used this vellum before. I just bought it. I had vellum before, but it wasn't printable. And a nice subscriber sent me some printed vellum. That was Suzanne Rhodes. She sent me some lovely printed vellum. And so I went looking to find where I could find some vellum. Right, so that's our bottom. Now, this is the tricky bit. So we fold this down. So I'm going to fold it down that much. Yeah, I think this is right. I should have refreshed my memory, I suppose, before I started making this, and because I don't really want to waste my vellum. So that goes like that, and then we fold it down again, I think. Actually, I might cut that now. Just down to that fold, like that. Then this piece can be stuck down there. So that's the front of our bag. And then these pieces just get stuck down to about there, about like that, so that they sit up higher than the front of the bag. It would probably be a lot easier if you're thinking of making one of these bags to use your scoreboard to get your creases nice and straight. So let's have a look how close to, oh, that'll be right. See how they're not quite the same height there. If you see, I've got a little fraction difference, but I plan on using my pinking shears across the top of that, so that will disguise that. Okay. Alright, so we've got the basics down. So what we need to do is glue this. Now, it's being vellum, it's a bit tricky about gluing, but I'm going to run a bead of glue along there. Okay, sorry about that. My husband was trying to get in and I didn't hear him coming. Oh, I didn't hear him at the door to let him in. Anyway, I'm going to stick these two down. And I'm going to stick, oh actually, I should have stuck glue up the whole thing because I'm going to cut that edge off. Probably left it too late for the other one. It's probably stuck. Yeah, I'll have to put some glue in that when I trim it up. Okay, and now we can glue this one down. Like so. And just put a clip on that to hold it in place. The vellum seems to be a bit resistant to the moisture in the glue. That one's holding alright, and that one's holding sort of okay. Going to hold that there for a tick until the glitter glue catches. I don't think I've got that square, that's why that's not catching very well. Now I'm going to trim these bottom corners off. I'm going to cut just inside the fold line. On both of those. Like that. And before I stick that up, I'm going to get my pinking shears and cut along the bottom of that. Okay. Now take these off. I find those little clips invaluable. Now I'm going to run some glue along here. And here. And stick those down. Make sure I haven't got any loose glue inside that's going to glue my bag shut. And now I can attach this. There. And once again, I'm going to put some of these clips on there just to make sure that my glue sticks really well. Like so, and now I can use my pinking shears to cut across here. Like that, and so we have our little bag. Oh, looks like I have got down far enough for that. Oh, what an idiot. I was going to put that in that pocket, and of course it's too wide for that, isn't it? Way too wide. Way, way, way too wide. Okay, so what I'm going to have to find something else to do with it then, aren't I? So I'll have to put something else in there. So what about if it's too wide even to use as a flick out? I could use it in a pocket like that, because it wouldn't matter if it pokes out, would it? And then I could put this in here. So I can do that, or I can make another vellum bag. Which do you think I should do? With that, when that's closed, that would poke out there like that. Might interfere with my closure, mightn't it? It may well interfere with my closure. So, well, what I might do is make, well, you've seen how I made the bag in the vellum, so I might just make one in paper. So what I think I'm going to have to do is print an A4 sheet of pattern paper so that I can get the height and the width. So I'll go off and do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've printed another piece of paper, and I've printed this on 200 GSM so that it's fairly sturdy. And I'm going to measure how wide I want my paper bag this time. I want it 4.5 inches. So let's just pop that in there for the moment. So what I'm going to do is find the, so let's find the centre of the page. Oh, it doesn't have to be exact anyway. So so let's say so there's our centre. So put that on the 6-inch mark. So this is how you do it if you're using paper instead of vellum. So I want it 4.5 inches wide, so I'm going to go 2 1/4 this way, score, and 2 1/4 this way and score. I'm going to turn it this way and score at well, let's say half an inch. Would that be enough? Let's say 5/8, a bit bigger than half an inch. And at the top I'm going to score, what was it? It was about, well, let's say 1 inch and 5/8 of an inch. Okay. Oops, sorry for the noise. So now if I fold that over and I fold this one over, you can see we've got way too much overlap there. So I'm going to cut about, where do I want it? Let's say I want to overlap, so if I cut there, and let's say about half an inch the other side of that on that one. So that's what I'll do. Trim that off. If you like, when I've got this all cut down to size and everything, I will give you the measurements, and then it might be a bit easier for you to make one when you do want to make one. Okay, so here's your measurements if you want them. So this piece of paper is 9.5 inches wide by 8 1/4 inches deep. I have scored at 2.5 inches from the left and 2 3/8 from the right. I have scored 5/8 of an inch up from the bottom, and I've scored 1 inch down from the top and 5/8 of an inch down from the top. Okay, so there's your measurements. Now we're going to cut this. Now I'm going to cut this bottom piece on a bit of a slope so that there's no chance of it interfering with anything, and then I'm actually going to cut that score line off, just so you don't want to make too much of a gap there. I'll do the same on this side. I'm not too worried about the angles here being exactly the same, but you could measure them if you wanted to. The way the light's reflecting on that, I can't really see that fold, so hopefully I got it right. Actually that looks a lot less, so let's put that on there. Oh no, pretty much the same. There we go. Or is that the piece that came off of there? Either way, they look pretty good. Now, up the top, we're going to cut down to the bottom score line and I'm going to put a little bit of an angle on that as well, just so I've got a, I'm not going to crease up, or you know what I mean. So just a little divot out of that. I'm going to take my pinking shears and cut across the bottom. Not necessarily the straightest of cutters, but in this particular instance I don't think it's going to make any difference. Now, this piece we fold all the way down to the bottom score line. So this is the front of our bag. Okay, and we can stick that down. You can see it's much easier making this out of paper. You can make it out of all sorts of paper, you know, book paper, music sheets, all those things. I have made them out of all of those, and I love them. Okay, now these two side pieces we fold down to the first fold, like so. So our front is lower than our backs, but the backs go down below the fold of the front. That's the whole trick of it, I think. And then we just attach that down. And this one as well. Okay, so now we can attach one over the top of the other. So there we have our bag. Let's make sure it's going to fit before I actually join it together. Yes, much better. Much better. Now I'm going to stick the back down here. So I like to run some glue along both edges. That way we don't get, there's nothing to catch anything on when we put something in the pockets, in the bag. Like that, and then lay them on top of each other. How pretty that is. Now we're going to just run a bead of glue along here. I just run a bead through the middle and fold that up. And because we cut that fold line off, this just sits down really nicely. Well, I probably should have inked those and those before I stuck them down, but too late now. Now I'm going to take my pinking shears and cut across the top to make our little picket edged bag. These pinking shears used to belong to my mother. She gave them to me. She's still going. She hasn't died or anything, but she doesn't sew anymore. And when she started sewing, like, she was a tailor, that was her profession. And back in those days, well, probably not even then, in those days they used to hand finish all the edges of the seams, but she used to make all of our clothes when we were kids, and she used to pink the edges, and she used to use those, so they're vintage. Well, they're probably not 100 years old, but they're pretty old. Okay, so that is our bag. Second attempt, but, well, at least you know now how to make them in both vellum and paper. much easier to make in paper because you can score all your lines and you know you're going to get everything perfectly lined up. If being perfectly lined up doesn't matter to you, well then, you know, go for it. Just fold and see how it goes. That's what I usually do when I'm using book paper or music paper or something like that. So I think that because this paper is so beautiful, I'm not really going to do much decoration on this pocket. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie a ribbon around it. And when I say ribbon, I don't mean ribbon itself. I think I might get some sari silk and just tie that around it and stick it on at the back so that it doesn't come off. And I used some mauve sari silk on this, so I might see what I've got left of that. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I have got more of that mauve. That was that one I used, but I've got this sort of creamy one with a spot on it, and it's like a bluish spot, and I'm thinking I might use that. So my thought was that I would put that around there. Now I need to have a look, don't I? I need to have a look how high this comes in the pocket. Okay, so I might put it up here. I might put my sari silk up the top. So I want to put that around there and tie, well, I'm not real good with bows, but I'll give it a go. So I'm going to just cut that off, and I'm going to put that on there like so. And then tie a bow. I know some people can tie bows and it's just so effortless. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them. Oops. See what I mean? See what I mean? Anyway, so I think I'll just attach this to the back using some art glitter glue. I'm going to run a bead of glue along there, and then I'm going to attach that to it like so. So I'm just, oh, I don't know whether you can hear, I've probably got my head right over it and you can't see anything except my hair. Just hold that for a second. We could have also used some lace. Got various laces here I could have tied around with that, but I've got all this sari silk and I very rarely use it, so I thought I should start. Okay. If you've got any tips on how to tie bows so that they turn out like they're supposed to, with the pieces hanging down the bottom instead of floating up the top, please let me know in the comments, or if you've got a video that shows how to tie a bow, that would be even better. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got. So we've got a pocket with an envelope and a pretty little bow on it, and when we shut our book, that bow is fine. Alright, so that's my video for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I just love making these bags. Yeah, seem to be a bit of an obsession with me. So that's our paper one. What happened to our vellum one? And there's our vellum one. So that one's very wide. It's too wide to put in this book. It would interfere with my closure. So, and I haven't even decided what sort of closure I'm going to have yet, but I'll use it for something else. It's beautiful. So there we go. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment, thumbs up, all those great things. That would be fantastic. Okay, thanks for joining me. I hope you get to do some crafting yourself soon, and I hope you can join me when I post my next video. Okay, bye.